This house is Singapore's first fully 3D printed multi-storey home. From the beginning, I never wanted it to feel like a technological showcase. It was still about creating spaces for everyday living. We wanted the 3D printing technology to adapt to the needs of the home rather than forcing the home to fit the technology's constraint. Hi, I'm Lim Kun Park, founder and principal of Park Associate Architects. As a studio, besides creating delightful spaces, curiosity and experimentation is often the starting point of our design process. And this is probably what drove us to embark on these 3D printing projects. We have been living here for about 25 years. My children grew up here and continue to live as young adults in this place. So rebuilding the home carried a lot of memories and emotional attachment as well. The house sits on a relatively deep and square side, which means that the center of the home can become dark and poorly ventilated. That became the starting point of the design, and we introduced the oculus as a main feature. Initially, it was to bring daylight and ventilation deeper into the home, but over time, it became the heart of the house as well. The grandeur and geometry created by the oculus also became a small homage to the old house that once stood here. When the daylight shifts, the space can feel uplifting and sometimes contemplative. When people think about 3D printing, they often imagine something futuristic or highly repetitive. This is not what we are trying to do here. From the beginning, even though we are working with a new technology and a unique aesthetic, we still want the house to feel warm, comfortable, timeless, and as a family home first and foremost. The facade and boundary walls, how the house was constructed with the distinct layering of the 3D printing process, left intentionally exposed. Rather than smoothing over the printed edges, we choose to leave them as they are, almost like a physical record of how the house was made. The entrance sequence feels slightly formal. That was intentional. The previous home that stood here was a neoclassical home from the 1990s, and we wanted to retain a small memory of that through the geometry and the procession of the entrance experience. So in some way, entering the house became a bridge between our old memories and this new chapter of the home. As you move into the living room, the space opens up much more, with the ceiling height increasing to about 5 meters. I've always enjoyed spaces that unfold gradually rather than revealing everything immediately, so the changes in the ceiling height helps create a more layered journey throughout. The ground floor is also kept quite porous, with large openings and folding doors that allow the breeze to cross-ventilate naturally. Even on warmer days, the spaces remain comfortable. We place our dining table directly beneath the oculus because we spend a lot of time together here. So this became one of the most important spaces in the house for us. It also works as a cooling lung for the home, with an extractor fan installed at the top to draw hot air upwards and out through to the surrounding vents. If I had to choose, this would be my favorite part of the house. The shifting quality of the light here under the oculus every hour and every day feels quite magical and constantly changes the mood of the room. I still enjoy sitting here and watching how the atmosphere changes over time. It probably looks quite effortless now, but technically, this oculus was one of the most difficult parts of the home to print because of the leaning walls. There were moments where I wondered if we were taking too much of a leap. But I think a lot of the joy in architecture comes from the process of experimenting, problem solving, and working through the uncertainty together. As we move through the levels, the circulation is guided by the oculus, so its presence is constantly felt throughout the spaces. Even within the different rooms, you can catch small glimpses of it through the openings and circulation path, which helps the house to feel connected as a whole. As you enter the main bedroom, you can see the architecture and interior are not separate thoughts but woven into a single narrative. The holistic view of the architecture is really what we try to practice in our studio. Even here, small slivers of oculus continue to appear through the spaces, quietly connecting the private areas of the homes back to the rest of the house. This project has been a slow burn of curiosity for many years. When I finally see it completed and living by my family, it feels very meaningful both personally and professionally. More than proving that 3D printing is possible, I hope projects like this help people see that automation and technology can still create spaces that feel warm, comfortable, and most importantly, deeply human.